Govvi is not the first to market. We are the best to market. So fuel catalysts have been around since their invention in 1978. They received a Nobel Prize for their groundbreaking fuel economy improvements, their ability to help engines burn clean, last longer, while reducing emissions by up to 70% or more. So this technology is nothing new. It has been around for a very long time. There's actually been 6 Nobel Prizes in chemistry awarded around organometallic technology. Govvi just happens to have one of the best, that we work with a company that has been around for a long time with a spotless record and happens to have one of the best products on the entire market. So Govvi fuel tabs are a 5th generation fuel catalyst backed by a 1973 prize in chemistry won by Jeffrey Wilkinson and Ernst Otto Fischer. So I apologize, I've got to just get everybody admitted into here. So it's a revolutionary fuel catalyst that changes the molecular structure of fuel molecules to make them smaller, uniform, and burn more efficiently and more completely, so there's no carbonization or carbon residue, and you get more power to the engine. It's formulated to reduce your vehicle's fuel consumption, resulting in more miles per gallon and saving you money every single time that you fill up. It's also designed to clean your engine, reduce knocking, and lower emissions, so we can all do our part to help better the environment. So what it does is it creates an acceleration of fuel burning at the time of combustion. It reduces the peak temperature of the cylinder, increasing the life of the engine, creates a unique catalytic cover on the combustion surfaces of the engine. It increases the octane or cetane level of the fuel. It increases the power, the performance, reduces emissions and smoke exhaust, cleans the engine and prevents carbonization, and keeps valve injectors and oxygen sensors clean. Kind of what this means is, I'm just going to simplify it and break this down in a much easier way. Long story short, when your engine burns gasoline or diesel or whatever, fossil fuel that it runs on, it doesn't burn all of it. The science video, when they did it, it's kind of akin to baking a cake. When you turn your oven on to 500 degrees and you stick the cake in, you burn the whole outsides of the outsides of the cake while the inside of the cake is still basically raw. What Govvi does is it's kind of like turning the oven temperature down to 350. And when you put the cake in, it doesn't even burn across the whole thing. Basically, what the Govvi fuel catalyst is doing is allowing your gas to burn completely, because most gas, when we burn it, despite all the advancements in technology that we have, we really kind of only burn about 80% of the fuel just due to the limitations of the fuel that we have. This is just what works, right now. Those people haven't cared all that much because gas wasn't all that expensive. So this technology has been around for quite a while, and we get it from a manufacturer that's been in business for 15 plus years. And this business has basically worked with commercial fleet vehicles exclusively, and they use it for a number of different reasons. Number one is because of the increased fuel economy. When you're running giant sets of fleet vehicles or, $500,000 to multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment, the more money that you can save as a big business, that adds up over time, especially on the fuel costs. Number two, the big thing is if they're burning the fuel more completely, the engine stays cleaner, so it runs better and lasts longer. If you've got a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment, or if you've got fleet vehicles, the longer you can make your vehicles last and have to pay less maintenance fees, that adds up for big companies. It also reduces emissions. So the EPA looks favorable on these, and you can say, we're doing our part to help the environment. And so why hasn't this been in the commercial world before? The consumer world. The reason it's not been in the consumer world is gas was not expensive enough that anybody cared. That's all. Basically, did you care about about this whatsoever when gas was $1.50 or $2 a gallon? No, because it wasn't that big a deal. Now that it's more expensive than that, this becomes a product that really fills a need for a lot of people. Molecular behavior of petroleum and oil derivatives, both gasoline and diesel. Basically, if you have a combustion engine, this product works inside of it. Oil and its derivatives, gas and diesel, tend to behave in a very unstable manner inside the combustion chamber. The fuel doesn't burn completely. This molecular instability causes formation of solid residues called oxide due to the acid process in the combustion chamber. This acid process results in carbonization. And because the oxides are resistant to high temperatures, the carbonized ore adheres to the metals in the various components of the engine. So this is important to note. Basically, you get a carbon byproduct in any petrol, gasoline, diesel combustion engine that runs on fossil fuel, because the fuel is not burning completely, we get an oxidative process that basically leaves carbonization deposits in the engine. So this acid process resistance oxidation, this oxidation process will cause the engine of your vehicle to consume more fuel, pollute the environment more, increase preventative and corrective maintenance costs, and lose power. This happens because you get carbonization of spark plugs. The spark plugs don't fire as efficiently because they're gummed up. You get the clogging of oil, gasoline filters. You get damage to oxygen sensors because they get gummed up. You get loss of engine compressions. You get an increase in pollution gases. You get higher fuel consumption because your engine isn't burning the fuel completely. Then you get more frequent oil changes and you get increased engine temperature. So the 1973 Nobel Prize in Govvi goes from the unstable to the stable. In the simplest terms, Wilkinson and Fisher managed to formulate a stable molecule in a metal element in the middle of two carbon elements connected to the hydrogen chains. The Govvi formulation acts on exposed carboxyl compound branches that are acidic and attracted to the Govvi's tablet oxide to initiate a dehydration process. The dehydration process produces a molecule of water, which decomposes at high temperatures, releasing a molecule of carbon dioxide. This eliminates the links in the aromatic change and has a reversible effect on carbon deposits. What does this mean? It means it increases your octane number by 5. For me, I've got a 700 horsepower Jeep Trackhawk. I have to use 91 octane fuel in it because it can't run on the, like you wouldn't put 87 in that, you just can't. So because it increases the octane number by 5, if I add this little pill that if you buy it in bulk, you can get about $3. If I put that little $3 pill that I bought in bulk into my engine or into my gas tank before I fill up, I can now use 87 instead of 91. I save almost $1 a gallon out the gate. That means I save almost $20 at every fill up by using this roughly $3 pill that I bought. And this is before the fuel economy increase. I don't get great gas mileage. So if I can get more gas mileage, if I can save some money, to me, this is giant value. It also reduces the toxic gas emissions up to 85% in my car. If I get on it, I can smell that the engine is not burning all of the fuel. This is just physics. So this decarbonizes carbon residue, leaving a catalytic varnish on the engine, AKA we have just cleaned your engine is basically what's going on and what this product does. It just makes it cleaner so it runs better and it burns the fuel more efficiently. Organometallic technology is based on 6 different Nobel Prizes in chemistry. In July of 2015, Govvi technology was approved in Mexico by the IMP, which is the Mexican Petroleum Institute. The Department of Defense and the aerospace industry in the United States have used organometallic technology for over 30 years. This technology is provided to these federal organizations in the United States that comes from the same laboratory that manufactures the tablet for Govvi. Tests totaling over 400 million miles have been conducted in the United States. Does it work? Yes. Is it safe? Yes. Does it reduce emissions? Yes. Those are your 3 simple ones. So this Govvi tablet technology has been in operation since summer of 2010 in the United States. As of now, there is no record of product returns. The tablet has caused no damage to any engines and has not damaged the environment whatsoever. There are no lawsuits on record in the United States. The laboratory that manufactures Govvi products is regulated by the EPA, and therefore it represents a symbol of guarantee that we can reduce pollution. What does this do? That means you save money, we save the environment, because Govvi fuel tabs reduce CO2 emissions by up to 85%, and that reduces your consumption of diesel exhaust fluid in diesel engines. I have heard some very interesting stories so far. I don't have any personally, but that truckers are able to use less diesel exhaust fluid because their emissions go down. They save money then twofold. It saves it about 3-4-fold. Because now you're saving on diesel exhaust fluid, you're saving on maintenance and wear and tear, and you're saving on your fuel economy as well. There really isn't a downside to this unless you are big oil. There's the science of it. It's far more complicated than I made it, but we can still break it down to the nuts and bolts that it basically just makes your fuel in your engine burn completely. So instead of burning 80% of the fuel that's in there and you get left with a bunch of leftover residues and oxides and carbon deposits, it just burns it closer to, like, say, 99%. Each engine's going to differ. So don't quote me on how much, but it makes the fuel burn more completely. So this way you don't have money going out your exhaust pipe because due to limitations in physics, we're not burning all of the fuel in your car. This is basically how it works. And when that happens, your engine runs better, it lasts longer, and there's less emissions. Everybody basically besides big oil is a winner. So that basically concludes the science portion of it, that if you want to learn more about